Is this not so insane?
Hi, I'm Kelly from Kelly's Clean Kitchen. This is my kitchen where I teach you how to cook in an easy and fun way. And today we are doing a gluten-free lemon meringue pie. Now, this is an exciting day, mostly for my boyfriend, because I'm making us a lemon meringue pie to celebrate our 6-year anniversary. Now, is it his favorite dessert? No, it's mine, but he's had 6 years of eating my food, so I think he'll be okay. Now, lemon meringue pie is like one of those desserts that seems difficult to do, but trust me, if I'm making it, it's not hard to do, because I don't fuck with baking, but a pie, different story. There's basically 3 components to lemon meringue pie. We have the crust, the lemon filling, and then the meringue. All of which are technical, but not that hard, so make it with me. Now we're gonna start with the crust. I know a gluten-free crust is intimidating, but when it comes to pie crust, gluten-free is actually super easy because a pie crust, at the end of the day, you want it to be flaky and like crumbly, and there's no gluten to hold it together. So it's gonna be crumbly, so it's totally fine. So we're gonna start with 1 1/4 cup of gluten-free flour. You wanna do a blend that is a 1-to-1 blend, so it's gonna have xanthan gum in it. And I like King Arthur, so this is King Arthur. We add it to a food processor. And then I'm going in with a dash of salt and also some sugar. Since this is a sweet pie, I'm adding sugar to the crust, and we're just gonna pulse that together. And if you don't have a food processor, you could totally do this by hand with like a Danish whisk, or just crumble the butter in your hand. That works too. So that has been pulsed together. And then we're gonna go in with butter. This is 8 tablespoons of cold butter. You want it to be cold. And we're gonna pulse until it's crumbly like sand almost. And then once that is the texture of sand, we are going to pour in ice cold water, like literally put ice in there. And it's about like 1 to 2 tablespoons, but while it's blending, you pour it in until the dough starts to form together. It has to be ice cold because you don't want the butter to get warm and then it'll get all like melted. That's texture you don't want to deal with. Like balled up, that's what we're going for. I have a problem where I like to eat it too. Now that our dough is ready, I like to personally put down, I have like a silicone mat. If you don't have this, just flour your counters and that totally works. And then we are going to like roll it to combine. So we're gonna put it into like a dough ball, and then we want to refrigerate this. And this is the same too if you are using gluten filled flour. Lucky you, it'll stick together a lot better than mine. But I'm just gonna knead it until it's a smooth ball, or like a disc almost. And I can tell my dough is feeling a little wet. If it feels damp, I'm gonna add some flour to it. And the same vice versa. If it feels dry, add some water to your hands and knead it. Okay, it's feeling good. Okay, we have a nice smooth dough ball of sorts. We are now going to saran wrap it, place it in the fridge, refrigerate for 30 minutes before rolling out, because that butter is all warm now. We don't want warm butter. That means it'll be like, I don't know, what's the texture? Almost like soggy. It'll be like a soggy dough once you bake it. So you need cold butter. So wrap it in saran wrap, pop it in the fridge for 30 minutes, and then do the lemon filling while you do that. Oh. I'm out of saran wrap. Now we're gonna do the initial bake of the pie crust. Whenever you have a crust that isn't topped with another crust, if that makes sense, like an apple pie, for example, that has like a custard filling, you usually do an initial bake first. So I Fill it with some parchment, kind of press it in. And then you could buy, they're called baking beans, I think, but I use just like dried rice or dried beans to fill it. And this prevents it from like puffing up in the oven. So push it into the corners. Make sure it's as even as possible. And we are going to bake this at 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. I'm actually going to turn the oven down to 350, bake for another like 10 to 12 minutes, and then we're gonna add the filling. Beautiful. Okay, we now are going to cool it down completely before adding the filling in. Now for the lemon filling, you're gonna need 3 to 4 lemons. We need a half cup of lemon juice. And then I also like to zest 3 whole lemons. I feel like the lemon taste actually comes the most from the zest. So I know it's time consuming, but like trust me, it is worth it. So I'm zesting 3 lemons and then juicing 1/2 cups worth of juice. And don't you dare think about buying that jarred, disgusting lemon juice. That shit is disgusting. Do not use this. You need fresh lemons, and trust me, it is worth it. Okay, now we're to the juicing. I have a little fun anecdote story for this. When I was in culinary school, I realized I had been juicing lemons incorrectly for literally years. If you have a lemon juicer, I will always put it down like this, cut side up. Wow, I felt really, really dumb when my classmate, mind you, 4 months into culinary school, was like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? Sure enough, it's a lot easier if you do cut side down into a lemon squeezer. Yeah, perfect. 1/2 cup. Now for this recipe, we need 10 eggs. We need 4 whole eggs. We can crack them right into a pot. And the rest we need separated. So we need, into the pot, we need these 6 yolks, but save the whites because we're gonna use the whites for the meringue. And one of the reasons I love this pie so much is because it is a set custard and I feel like they're super easy to make. Like think of like a creme brulee, for example. It's just like tempering eggs. And that's not that hard in my opinion, compared to like if you were gonna make a cake and like rising flour, it's so much more difficult than just tempering eggs. Now I'm only gonna save 5 of the whites because I don't want like too much meringue. So you can ditch the last egg white, but save all the yolks into the pot. Now we're gonna whisk these until smooth and then add 3/4 cup of sugar. Well, smoothish. And then I'm adding 3/4 cup of sugar in. And now we add our lemon zest, lemon juice, and also butter. Take it stovetop over medium heat, and we're gonna whisk until it is smooth and thickened like a custard. Now with a custard, we know because it's nice and thickened, you always want to strain a custard through a fine mesh strainer just because There is egg pieces in there. It's always gonna happen no matter how well you temper an egg. It's just gonna be not perfectly smooth. So we're gonna strain it through a fine mesh strainer to really refine it. It already smells so good. And then just push it through the fine mesh strainer with a spatula. Oh fuck, I just spilled everywhere. And this is why we push it through a fine mesh strainer. See all those little pieces? It's like eggy pieces. We don't want that texture-wise. It'd be fine flavored, but not today. And we are gonna set this aside while we roll out our pie dough. And what's nice about this too, like you could totally do a lot of this the day before you even want the pie. Like you can make the custard the day before, you can make the pie crust the day before. The only thing you should make a day of is the meringue. That's what we get. Let's taste test. It's so good. Wow, I cannot wait. Okay, now on to the part that people consider like the trickiest. It's not that hard, it's the meringue. It's quite simple. So we are gonna take the 5 egg whites from earlier into a metal bowl. And then we are going to stir in caster sugar, about a cup. And it needs to be caster sugar because it is lighter in weight compared to like a cane sugar. And then 3/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And that just helps hold the meringue together. And we're gonna whisk that until it's smooth. And then once it is smooth, we are gonna do the process where we're actually cooking and tempering the egg whites and bringing them up to temperature. So we're gonna place it over a pot of boiling water, which is why it's important to do a metal bowl, and whisk continuously until it's like doubled in size and the sugar has completely dissolved. And the biggest hack for not messing this part up is taking an internal thermometer and temping it. Once it reaches 160 degrees Fahrenheit, then we are good to go. Remove it from the heat. Now that sugar is dissolved and has reached the proper temperature, we are going to whisk this meringue until we have stiff peaks, which basically means it like doubles in size and all this stuff, you'll see. And you can use a stand mixer if you want. I'm just lazy and don't want to clean another bowl, so a hand mixer it is. Want to go till stiff peaks, so it should be like straight up, because then your designs will be a lot prettier. You'll see. Shit, don't do that. It's delicious. Okay, and here is the final step. We are gonna take that pie. We're going to add the meringue on top. You don't want it too hot. It's been cooling for like 15 minutes. We're gonna add the meringue on top, make a nice design, and you can choose to torch it, or you can pop it in the oven, which we'll do the oven, and it's gonna brown beautifully. And it's gonna look like a lot of meringue, but that's kind of the point. You can see I made nice swirly designs in the meringue. We're now just going to pop that in the oven at 375 degrees for about 10-15 minutes until we have a nice browning on top. Okay, so at this point, it is done. You can see it's kind of tan right now, which you could totally leave. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a blowtorch just to make it look a little prettier. A little more like definition in the grooves. And that is how you make a lemon meringue pie. Now, you want to let it sit for 2 hours before slicing into it. So we're gonna come back in 2 hours once it's cooled a bit and see how it is. Okay, it's been like 2 hours. I'm a little impatient, so I'm gonna slice into it and serve. Yeah, that looks good.
Is this not so insane?
It's still a little warm because I was impatient, but the best pie. You actually would not even know it's gluten-free. 10 out of 10.